What's up, everybody? Bingo here. I'm with the Duel Factor for Season 2, Episode 10 of X2 Drop. This week, we don't have anything as exciting as we did last week with Dominic Couch on. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, he was one of the team members from YCS Las Vegas that ended up taking the event. This week, we are just going to kind of take back and look at the upcoming product, focusing on Duel Overload and really how it's going to either impact, change, or sculpt the meta. Because this set is huge, and it's also going to be released around the same time as a ban list and a new master rule. So, like, the game is just going to explode, and it's going to be great. But Duel Overload finally brings us cards like Crystron Needlefiber, or however the fuck they translated it, Union Carrier, which I'm not excited for, as well as the Predaplant Link, and a bunch of other cards that are either generically good, fantastic reprints, or just the set itself is structured very well. So, Joe, this was your topic idea. I mean, more or less, like, you want to focus on how it's going to impact the current metagame, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So,
it's actually
go ahead.
It's actually kind of crazy because right now, like, if we're looking at like the ladder of decks of like what I think like the best decks are, before the set comes out, I still think like Spiral's like the most powerful deck. Then you have the Shaddoll Invoke deck, and then you have for the number 3 deck, it's like a slot of like between like 4 other decks because there's like Consistency Slot deck and Dragon Link and all that fun stuff. You have Dinos, you have this, that, and that. But like you get Dual Overload, and in my mind, especially with like all the cards that we have access to, I think Lunalight honestly becomes like the best deck again. Simply because it now has like legitimate 2-card combos because of the new extra deck monsters that we get. I think Spiral gets knocked down a little bit, or actually it might go all the way back down to 3rd, and then I'm still deciding on what goes in like the 2nd slot and stuff like that, but I think there's like a big shift in like what the best decks are come next week when Dual Overload comes out.
Okay, so let's just get into the first thing you said. Why do you think Lunalight gets such a big boost from this? Obviously, I'm guessing you're leaning towards Needlefiber, or is it Union Carrier?
Well, the reason I think it, because I've been doing some what I like to call fish bowling, but it's test hands with the deck. And right now the big problem is like the deck, like Chick Tiger is broken, but it doesn't have like a true like Chick Tiger combo. It has to be a 3rd extender in the hand or something like that. It doesn't play through hand trap. I don't think it plays through hand traps very well at the moment, right? And like the big play right now is if you're still playing the version that ends on Lambda, you're doing it on like a Redoer, a Dweller, and then some sort of like a Lambda play that gets you Gamma, right?
Yeah.
Although that's like several points of interruption, it's not like the most consistent board and requires you to have more than just Chick Tiger. That requires you to have an extender. With the release, let's see, a week from now when we get it, you get the release of Raid Raptor Wise Tricks, which makes Chick Tiger an actual true combo.
Oh yeah, that is
again that being being a 2-card combo, because now you can. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Obviously, everyone's seen the Infinite Negate combo that has like ends. Chick Tiger ends on Union Hanger. Not Union Hanger. I gotta quit saying that. Union Carrier, IP Masquerena, which turns into an Avermax to protect your cards. It turns into Apex Avion, and it also turns into Cyber Dragon Infinity. So you have the Infinite Negate combo. There's some other like, and it's actually like it's just actually insane what like 1 or 2 extra deck monsters just does for that particular deck in general. Is why I think it becomes the best deck at that point, because it plays through hand traps much better. Because if your initial Chick Tiger play gets stopped, it was just a traditional 2-card combo, and now that 3rd extender you needed for the original plays becomes a true extender, letting you play through hand traps. So that's why I think it becomes the best deck after that. And I think it plays through hand traps better than the Spiral deck will, or Dragon Link, or any of those other types of decks. And I think it plays through stun very well already. So I just think it becomes very well placed after the set gets released.
Yeah, and like I think out of all of the decks, like maybe Salamangreat's worse, but I think Spiral doesn't benefit from the cards in these sets as much. Like, obviously, Needlefiber is a very strong card no matter what decks it's in. They'll probably play it in some sense, but like it doesn't have any in-archetype tuners that are relevant, and like all it's doing is just generating generic link material. So
Right.
like it just like I don't see it gaining any value. Yes, you can make Union Carrier maybe at the end to do some cheese, like equip the fucking like Buster Whelp or something, but like you can't use it as link material, so it can't be a play starter to like get quick fix in the grave or something like that, you know?
It's one of those things like the spiral deck. What I think what makes the spiral deck like not benefit so much that we're getting prior to the YCS, and I could be 100% wrong on this, but this is just an opinion. Bear that in mind. Is I think the spiral deck itself right now is very like self-contained, right? Like it's already been figured out. Like what I was talking to my buddy Gromit earlier today, and he was talking to me about how he took second place on OTS or playing Scrap Spiral, and everything that those new cards do, like it's already self-contained in the deck. Like they already have Scrap Wyvern, which actually makes Appaloosa and do your play before you even start. I think the version he was playing was doing that. It's also making like Boral Savage with like Co-Linked Griffin and Spiral Sleeper. Like everything it's doing right now is everything with new cards is unnecessary. So that's why I don't think it benefits from the new cards.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more unfair.
Exactly.
So the next deck like that, I don't really know. I'm not a Salamangreat player. I don't really know how Salamangreat can incorporate these cards like effectively, and I just feel like that deck's just going to fall down a little bit because it's just going to continue to do the same things. Like, yeah, I guess it could be a finisher combo that you play in your deck with like one copy of Glow Up Bulb or something. But again, you're not. And are any of the Salamangreat cards that are played? They're not tuners, correct? Like I'm not.
No, not that I know of. Especially like it's that deck's problem is everything that's good about it. Again, it's absolutely correct in this one. That's all self-contained, and everything has to go with like Salamangreat monsters. There's nothing in there that you would want to put in there that like changes how the deck plays or anything like that. Like the deck's already established what it does. It's consistency deck, right? Like it gets to play every single game no matter what. You don't want to like try to cheese it with like Union Carrier combos or what's another one? Kriston Needle Fiber combos. Like it's unnecessary for what the deck wants to do. So, but I think that doesn't make it worse. I think it still well positions it for the meta because across the board, it actually has a lot of really good matchups just because its trap cards are searchable. And it also has access to cards like Pyro Phoenix, which I think is a lot better card than people give it credit for. You have access to the Transcode combo, which a lot of decks can't deal with it effectively if they're not prepared for it, so on and so forth. So I think that deck's actually positioned a lot better than what people give it credit, but I think it's still a rogue deck at this point.
Yeah. Do you think they'll play Union Carrier to like pull a specific card out of the deck? You know, well, I mean, it can't be summoned that turn, so I don't know.
I don't think you can because like the only card you want, like the card you want to pull out of the deck is Jaguar, and that's what Mirage Stalio did. But there's just better ways of doing it. Like you have access there through Gazelle, and you have like 7 Gazelle searchers. So technically, any deck that you play has 7 copies of Jaguar, and that's the only card you want to pull out of the deck. So
yeah, and then so just Needle Fiber in general isn't the insane card that it was when it was first revealed and ran rampant in the OCG. We had cards like Firewall Dragon, we had Summon Sorceress, and like it was just Glow Up Bulb equals like OTK plus like 10 plus 2000. Like
yeah, wasn't Bulb like
Bulb was
800 points of damage or some shit like that?
Bulb was nuts. And or just any way to pull it out of deck, like if you could just get a tuner and non-tuner on board. So I mean that's why like Sky Striker was playing Glow Up Bulb because
it let you kill in the deck. Yeah. It let you kill when you had it, right?
Yep, and it just bumped the ceiling up so much for pretty much every deck. Like you had to play it in some fashion. Like right now, it just doesn't do it. It makes free link material, yes, but every deck that's currently established like already has a solid deck core, and like I don't like it might fit into the what's it called, Shaddoll Invoke deck, probably the best.
It might have a home there. It's a way to pull out a Falco and stuff like that. I never thought of that.
Yeah, and like especially after the new master rule, when you're not limited to the link arrows, like you can do your plays and then either get like a link a Link 4 from a Needlefire play somewhere along the lines. I don't know. I feel like that deck has the best options to utilize that card specifically. Union Carrier, I don't like this card because it's just like, it just makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Not fun. It's one of those cards that, like you said, infinite negates, does the fucking, what's it called? Can't special summon from the extra deck bullshit.
Oh yeah, it's a not like Union Carrier like does the bust and all that fun shit, and it's also like tutors cards out that like people just don't want to deal with. Like it's actually just insane.
Yeah.
And like I feel like the deck it was tended for is actually the deck that's like worst in.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like they'll play it, but it doesn't. It's not the same. Like,
oh no, not by any stretch of the imagination. Right, and then you also have like cards. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say what else we got? The Proto Plant Link. We haven't talked about that one very much. I don't think this card is as good as people want it to be right now. We don't have Dragoon, and like yes, it can can activate Super Poly from the deck, but like that's your turn.
Yeah, it can break a board, but you can't do anything after you've done it. Like that's the big problem. Like positioning card, right? Like it's like, oh look what I can do with this, and like you can activate Super Poly and we can crack a board. That's great. You can crack a board, but I promise you, if you crack a combo player board and you can't capitalize on it, you're dying the next turn. That being said, once Dragoon comes out, that's when like the card actually becomes scary. Because there's just like so many decks that can capitalize on doing stuff and then just making the card at the end of the combo, and then they just summon a Dragoon.
It's just a complete free form of negation or interruption, and that's when I'm not looking forward to this card because it's just Red Eyes Fusion and you have to play like one brick or something.
Yeah, something like that. But that's where I think like the Predaplant, Verticonda, and then Crystal Needle Fiber. These are cards that like fall into the same category they're victims of other cards' success. And basically, like that, the best example is Needle Fiber, right? Because the one thing Needle Fiber was really good at before all the cards that made it good got banned, it was like the easiest way to make any two cards. It didn't like require anything else. Just to make a Summon Sork, and then Summon Sork could tutor anything else out of your deck by just simply placing a monster where you want it, right? And then there were other degenerate combos and stuff like that, but because everything around it was so broken that they all got like taken away, and then Needle Fiber is now like, it's way too late now, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be the same case with this Predaplant card. At the same time, though, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it's going to be classified in the same categories like a Needle Fiber card. So
the Protoplant card, I honestly, after initial hype, I don't even know if it warrants a spot in most extra decks. Like, yes, if you are siding Super Poly and you're playing like a deck that plays Extravagance, like I don't see why you wouldn't play that card, because why not?
There's no reason not to.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna put that card in my extra deck if I'm playing a just a normal deck where I want all 15 spots and I really have to cut corners where I don't want to. Why would I sacrifice it for a niche interaction to do something that might not even be relevant when I could just build my deck better? I don't know. I just got mixed feelings about it.
It's a very, very weird card. It'll shine in decks that have a self-sustained engine like Invoked, that, like you just have a number one card like Summon Engine and Alistair to begin with. So if you're not playing like the Shadal version, or if you're just playing like a more pure version, I think the card will be really, really good there. Pre-Dragoon, that is. But it's like it's hard to place it right now. That's the card's biggest issue.
Yeah, and then I think those are the three biggest like meta defining cards in the set. Like there's a lot of good cards in the set, but
100%.
Those are the three like that everyone's talking about, right? This one is one I want to bring up because people kind of like forgot about it. Lib the World Keyblade Master,
I don't even know what that card does.
All right, so it's linked to any two monsters. Cannot be link summoned unless there's a World Legacy card in your graveyard. I think why people aren't talking about this is because Ib got banned, and it was a fantastic card with that specific deck, but for like Mech Knight Invoked, which I'm a huge fan of, it's still good because you can use Morningstar to search out like World Legacy Succession. So, but during your main phase, you can set one World Legacy spell or trap from your deck to your field, but you can't activate it this turn, which gives you access to not memory, the fucking secrets, I think. And then if you have a World Legacy monster in your graveyard, you can't activate it this turn unless you have a World Legacy monster in your graveyard. So if you do have one, you can activate it. And it says if this link summon card sent to the graveyard is link material, shuffle one card on the field into the deck.
It seems like a really good card. I feel like it's a card that it's like you said, it kind of lost all of its steam when it.
And I honestly forgot the effect before. I forgot that was a requirement before I started reading it. But it's still a very good card.
It's kind of overlooked. I tell you what card that actually I think does the most damage for this entire set is Wise Tricks. That card's actually just broken.
Yeah, so let me... you keep talking about it. Let me just pull it up so I can remember what the exact effect is.
I can give you a quick rundown. So basically it takes 2 level 4 Dark Wing Beasts to make it, or I think it's just Dark Wing Beasts. I just assume it's level 4 because it works best in rank 4 decks.
Just 2 Dark Wing Beasts.
Yeah, so basically, whenever it's link summon, it can special summon a Wing Beast out of the deck. So already it summons like Zephyrus the Elite out of the deck, which that's insane. Just putting that out there. And then its other effect is whenever Raid Raptor XYZ activates an effect in a zone the card points to, you can set one rank up magic card from the deck to the field or something like that. Yeah. So that's what allows you to set Soul Shave Force. So kind of like how Pepe decks in the past when they first came out and you had like Ptolemaeus to make Infinity. Any deck that can make 2 level 4s into a Raid Raptor 4-Strix can now access Infinity as an engine requirement at that point. You know what I mean? Like It's actually just kind of scary because you get a free negate for any 2 level 4 monsters now and you can continue to combo because Zephyros has like huge combo potentiality and all that fun stuff. So it's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah. But obviously, what deck's going to utilize this the best? Obviously,
Lunalight, 100%.
Yeah, but it's a phenomenal card in niche. I think that's what the territory we're getting into with the remaining cards in the set. It's like good cards, but not completely generic like the ones we've already talked about.
Yeah, no, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Here's my favorite one of the set, the Link 2 Sky Striker.
Zeke?
I'm not going to talk about it too much, but this card does so much for the deck that it's actually playable again. Like, I've been playing it at locals for a month and a half now, and somehow I went 5-0 this past weekend. I just wanted to bring that up.
Getting your own locals clout, my guy.
But, like... If there's no more love on the ban list, like bringing back a second copy of Anchor or something, like it's not going to do much. People will probably top regionals with Sky Striker after this card comes out because if they're bringing it and they're good with it, it still works. It's so fragile compared to where it was.
That card's actually low-key, like, because we were testing earlier in the both summoning that card, and I didn't know what it did until you actually summoned it. I'm like, oh.
It helps.
This card's actually broken.
It helps deal with boards, push for damage. It's just overall good. Like if you can, like you get this card out and then you bring back your fucking Rose from the graveyard because you just banished a card. Like it helps get damage on board, and then it doesn't shut off your engine if you like Mind Control or Widow Anchor. That's the biggest thing. Or you can utilize cards like Nibiru and Phantasme without shutting your entire fucking deck off. And that's why it's good.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just putting this out there, but like if you had Sky Striker with 3 engage and you guys got that card, like Striker's already broken, but it would have been like broken.
Yeah, your grind game potential with this would have just been unheard of because sometimes you just got put in a position where you had to make a Phoenix and then you're cut off from Ray and you just die.
Oh, you know, like you get to the point where the deck just can't be outpaced because that card's actually just like broken, like 100%.
All right, what else we got here? Ojama. I mean, there's so much like small like archetype support. Like there's something in here for everybody. I got the new.
In fact, I think it's really cool because a lot of like staple cards get reprinted that decks can use and stuff like that. Like Impermanent's like huge.
Yeah, Imperm, Phantasma's in here, isn't it?
I think Phantasma's too late, but it's still nice to have access to it for a lot of budget players and stuff like that.
That card's it's going to be relegated to side deck for the most part. Like there's going to be a big period where Link summoning is still the go-to like play starting mechanic for a lot of decks, or at least early combo potential. So it's never going to be a bad card, but I don't know if it'll be main decked for the force.
I'll tell you what I am excited about. Like, I forgot I was in the set. The Relinquish and Enema. I think this card's really, really good.
Yeah, any deck that can play Magician Souls and has like, why wouldn't you play that card? It's just, for anyone that doesn't know, it's like Relinquish or Thousand Eyes from the extra deck, but it points straight up and it needs a level 1 monster and it can take the monster it's pointing to and equip it. So it's
That's good for some generic strategies, honestly.
Yeah, I think with like if Salamangreat was the best deck, or any deck that gives you a Link zone, like they have to play an extra monster zone, you know.
I'll tell you what, I think any deck that can play Instant Fusion actually just got a huge boost from that card, because like if you think about it, Instant Fusion, it's like it deals with 2 interruptions at that point. Well, actually no, 3 if you think about it.
What? How 3?
Because 1, like if you think about it, they either A, have to stop the Instant Fusion, they have to stop the Thousand Eye Restrict, or they have to stop the Enigma. Like that's 3 points of interaction that they have to be forced to choose if they so go that route. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you can activate Instant Fusion and deal with 2 monsters going second, like you're in such a good position that I don't see how you're not going to win that game.
You win, like game's over.
Assuming you're playing a real deck. But we got cards like the Trap Trick card, the alternate arts. Like this set's fucking amazing.
It's good, and actually, it's all actually like relatively like priced really well too. So that's just looking at like pre-sale stuff. It might be one of the things, like it might just be better just to get your stuff ahead of time versus how like people like traditionally like kind of wait and stuff like that. Because just kind of looking at it, like
I wouldn't personally wait too long. I think I'm gonna get it the first week or so.
Yeah, because Needlefires are what, less than $35. Condas starting to creep below the 27 mark, probably be 25. Imperms and stuff like that aren't too expensive. $15 Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, boys. What a time to be alive.
This set's going to be open massively. So
$20 sign-up minings too. That's pretty good.
Things are going to fall, but if you wait too long, you're going to pay the price. Just like every other fucking Yu-Gi-Oh set, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Oh yeah,
you can finally play Witchcrafter.
Yeah, I know. Creation gets a reprint, so I could buy the originals. It's only been like a year.
That's another good thing about these sets too. Like especially like for people like me, you, good old Sauceless French and stuff like that. Like it drives the price of like super expensive cards. It doesn't drive them like super down, but because they're more openly available, you don't have to pay nearly as much for like nice, pretty cards and stuff like that. I kind of like that.
Yeah, no, like with the sign up mining reprint, I have no intentions of getting the Ultra, but it's going to cause the secrets to dip, and I'll finally pick up my other 2.
All right. And then there's some good cards. There's another good card here. Like I'm just kind of looking at all of them. Like, yeah, we get the new Extra Hero Link, which is cool. Chaos Dragon Legionnaire gets a reprint. The Ancient Gear Ballista, that's a neat card. Like there's a lot of cool cards in here.
Yeah. The my only complaint about the set is that it's $30 which is fair. Like, you know, you got to pay money for product, but I'm personally not going to buy any boxes, but that's because most of the cards I want are going to be dirt cheap, right? They're going to be like $1 at most.
Oh yeah, I'm considering buying a couple boxes just because it's something I haven't done in a while. And there's just like a bunch of like reprints for like foiling out cards. Like Cybernetic Overflow came as an, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and like it's kind of annoying, like Blackwing Zephyros. It's kind of annoying how that's getting printed as Ultra. You know, it hasn't, like its original print was an Ultra, but it's like details, right? But it's nice to see swap
minor.
It's nice to see
Yeah,
Swap
mine are
Frog get a
details.
foil printing that isn't ulti. So overall, I commend Konami for making this product because it is great. Like, I'm not looking for Phantasmes, I'm not looking for Imperms, but there's probably 30 cards in here that I have interest in some way, shape, or form.
It's a very good overall set. It's a good boost to the game. It's nice of Charlotte, which I'm super excited to go play it. So
Yeah, and its timing couldn't be better because Nats is coming up in a few months, and then we have the new Master Rule, which has gotten a lot of older players reinvigorated in the game, and having access to cards like this relatively cheap, like Imperm and Phantasme, is going to be great because Yu-Gi-Oh is currently very expensive, and I'm not a fan.
oh yeah, 100%.
Like, I'll buy them and I'll play the game, but I'm not going to be happy about it. I just got to get a little drunk first.
There. The best time to buy Yu-Gi-Oh card.
You remember that time I woke up and I was like, I just bought an entire Max Rarity Spellbook core.
That was by far the best wake up message I ever saw on our. It was fantastic. He's like, so. We all just messaged back at the same time. Why?
Yep, and then I played Spellbook True Draco, and not your traditional sense Spellbook Draco.
And you got beat up.
I think I went 2-2. That was all right.
Nah, you got beat up, guys.
All right.
100% got beat up.
So, I mean, that about sums it up. We got like 2 minutes left. Joe, what are your overall feelings towards the set? What are you looking forward to having access to some of these new cards? Like, for me, I'll get into it in a minute, but what do you want to do with these cards?
Exciting. I've been like in a really good mood to play Yu ever since I finally got more like established after my move and stuff like that. And there's like we get a bunch of new stuff to play with, so it's like a good time to like actually like toolbox and like figure out what's coming up. April right on the horizon. A lot of these cards just get even better with Master Rule 5, and there's so many cool things that you're going to be able to do. Other than that, like I'm just super excited to play. I'm like obviously I'm just like a big avid fan of the Lunalight strategy right now, and I think it gets really really good with the new cards. So it'll be kind of cool to like toolbox in theory and see like all the cool stuff you can do with that. And I know how much Sauceless Friends loves the Lunalight deck, especially after we play tested last night. So I just wanted you guys to know that he still has no sauce.
Piccolo, you have no sauce. Hey.
All right, what I'm looking forward to is pretty much just the Sky Striker Link 2, the World Legacy Link 2, and having more tools for the deck that I refuse to let die, being Sky Striker. But I also am looking forward to finally actually playing Lunalight Time Thief because I think that deck is super cool. Not because the Lunalight cards, I fucking hate those things, but the Time Thief cards are awesome, and I just want to play them. But
so good.
Guys, if you have enjoyed the podcast, please check us out every week, same time, same place, 8 or 8 a.m. for you normal civilian people. On iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, 10 a.m. on YouTube. If you missed last week's episode or any of the previous, go back and check them out. The content is pretty good. And with that being said, I'll see you back here next week. Peace out.
Okay, bye.